Sometimes it's dark, and me personally, I'm scared of the dark. What does that mean? What am I talking about? Um, what that means is even in the dark, God is still working, and it won't always be light. We're not always going to have sunshines and rainbows and everything else. Sometimes it's going to be dark, and sometimes it's going to be difficult. Um, and I read a quote. I've been reading this devotional called A Deeper Walk. It's a compilation of devotionals written by influential Christian authors of the time. And by, I think the book was written probably 25, 30 years ago. It is a fantastic devotional, and yeah, and so I kind of want to talk a little bit about that today. As I'm talking about that, what I wanted to focus on was kind of a couple of the quotes that I had seen when I was reading that really made me think. First one we had, the author was talking about how even in the dark, God continues to work. God was still creating before he had said, "Let there be light." And so even while it's, dark, darkness is the absence of light. Even while it's dark, God is still working. And I think we see that in our lives, where whenever it's light, it's very easy to, point out the blessings that God is giving us. Like, oh, I see this blessing here, I see this blessing here. But when it becomes dark, it's so often that we forget that God is still working and that God is still creating, life for us in a sense. And there was another quote as well, and it was the author saying, I think that by there being darkness, God is trying to teach us that there is something better than light, and that's faith. And faith is so important. Faith is the basis. Faith is why we believe so strongly and we follow a God that we cannot physically see for ourselves. And oftentimes we can't, just, go and ring him up on the telephone, and have him answer everything that we need perfectly, that we can understand. We have to listen to him. We have to really search for him. And so I just wanted to draw attention to that, because I think it's so important in times where life is rough. I've experienced a lot of hardships in my life. Not to say I've had the worst life of all time, but everyone experiences hardship in a sense. And knowing that God still creates in the dark is very comforting, to me at least, because it helps me know that God is still working on me, even when I'm experiencing anything such as depression, such as watching myself just repeatedly fall and stumble into sin. But yet God is still giving me that grace. God is still extending his blessings to me, even while it seems to be a dark time and there's rough things happening, and things are stressful. God is still working. And I really like there's something better than light, and that is faith, because truly faith is much greater than light. Light's awesome. God has given it to us for a reason, but faith allows us, even in the dark, to know that light will come again, and that our true reward comes after this life and darkness. And when we get to heaven, there is no darkness. It is only light. We are in the constant presence of God, and he's no longer hiding away. He's no longer to the distance. He's there. And when we have questions, we go to God, and he's just right there to answer. And he still is here, but when we're in heaven, it's to a much greater extent, because he's right here. And that might sound a little odd. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. I'm sure you guys get what I'm saying. But yeah, even in the dark, God is still working. God is still creating life. God is still creating blessings. And that's just so great to know. And there was something else in there that, you know, it really made me think. And it was, just because it is dark doesn't mean a brand new day can't begin. And I think that is one of the things that stuck with me, because I know through hardships it's kind of like, oh man, what do I do? You know, what do I where do I go from here? You know, how do I continue to stay faithful when this is happening to me? You know, how do I continue that? But we need to stop to think. A brand new day can create from darkness, and that is the most special, the most amazing thing that I think I could have, you know, ever heard this week. And yeah, so that was a little jumbled again. This isn't the greatest filming spot. I'd say it's a pretty good filming spot in terms of scenery. Not a great filming spot in terms of gathering my thoughts and camera angles, obviously. But, you know, talking about God, so I mean, I don't think the camera angle really matters. Last time I checked, the camera angle had nothing to do with salvation, so I think we're good on that part. So thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna be posting more. I've been slacking off a little bit. You know, I haven't posted in about a month, maybe a month and a half, almost 2 months. And I was like, I've got to get back into it. I have so many plans, so many video ideas, so many stuff that I've finished, I've written up. Some of them are scripted, and I do have a paper that I look off when I read. But ones like these are, you know, more off the brain, as you can tell by the fact that it's not organized, and I have a lot of jumbly pauses where I try to gather my thoughts. But I like the idea of having stuff that is a little bit more real, a little bit more in the moment, because you're kind of learning. It's like we're having a conversation, me, you, and God. We're having a conversation here, and it's in real time, except I'm the only one talking, which is typically how my actual conversations go in real life too. You know, anyone who's been a part of them, they can vouch for that. But yeah, you know, I'm gonna be posting more, and that's the biggest thing that I want to have people, you know, look out for. And as I get into the school year, I might post a little bit irregularly, but I want to be more regular than what I have been currently. And so I will set aside time to be able to do stuff like this, because I enjoy doing it. It helps keep me accountable. You know, I don't just do this to show other people. I do it for myself, and for God, you know. But, you know, for myself, it helps me keep me accountable. If I see myself saying these things, I'm more likely to stick to it. And it's a way for me to be able to be held accountable when I don't really have anyone around me to hold me accountable to certain things. And so they're great for me. I hope you guys enjoy them. And yeah, you guys have, you know, just the most fantastic rest of your day. I'll be dropping more videos soon. I've said it like 100 times. I'm sure you guys know by now. But I want to make sure you guys put that down on your calendar. You put it on your fridge. Write that I'm dropping more videos. Actually, you probably shouldn't do that. That'd be a waste of some space on your refrigerator or on your phone calendar. But if you want to, I'm not going to tell you not to. There's a bug on me, so I had to like wipe it off. It's an ant, so I ain't going to do anything. But yet again, thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.